For over 400 years, one creature haunted the Filipino imagination, the Aswang, a flesh-eating, shape-shifting monster, a nightmare whispered at dusk, feared by every child, and blamed for every missing person. But what if this monster never existed? What if the Aswang was created to distract, to divide, and to dominate? This is the conspiracy you were never meant to hear. In the quiet towns of Capiz, Antique, and Mindoro, when the sun sets, the stories begin. Of women who fly at night, of creatures with long tongues that suck fetuses from the womb, of men who walk backward. These are the Aswangs of Philippine folklore. But legends aren't always born from truth. Sometimes they're engineered. When the Spanish arrived in the Philippines in the 1500s, they brought more than crosses and guns. They brought fear. To convert the natives, they had to discredit what they didn't understand. Healers, midwives, Babylons. These women were wise and reverently powerful. Too powerful. So the colonizers gave them a new name, Manananggal, Bruja, Aswang. Not heroes, monsters. And just like that, ancient protectors were turned into villains of the night.
Hear these people. In the name of the King of Spain and the Holy Church, we bring you a warning. By order of the Captain General and the priests of the Church, in the forests and mountains of this land, there roams a creature known as the Aswang. In the darkness of night, the Aswang takes the form of a flying monster called the Manananggal, hunting for infants and the weak. Beware! Take shelter in your homes before sunset. Close your windows and do not go outside at midnight. Pray with devotion. Hold your crosses tightly and do not trust the shadows of the forest. This is the command of your leaders. For your safety, for God, and for the King. May God protect you from evil.
But it didn't stop there. In areas with strong resistance to colonial rule, stories of Aswang attacks mysteriously increased. Villagers were told to stay inside after dark, to avoid gatherings, to trust only the church. But what if the Aswang wasn't real, and the real threat came wearing a uniform? The myth created isolation, suspicion, distrust, and that made rebellion nearly impossible. Old missionary records spoke of savages who feared flying demons, but those documents were written by the very people who benefited from those fears. In the early 1900s, American anthropologists noted how stories of Aswangs would conveniently spike in places where rebellion was rumored. Coincidence or strategy? Could it be that fear itself was the colonizers' most effective tool? Generations later, the Aswang still lives, but not in the trees, not in the shadows, not in the sky. She lives in every woman called a witch for thinking differently, in every rural crime blamed on a myth instead of investigated, in every village still afraid of the dark, not because of monsters, but because of history. The truth? The Aswang may have never existed, but the fear she left behind, that fear is very real, and maybe that was the plan all along. What if the real Aswang wasn't a creature, but a conspiracy? If this changed how you see our myths, share it. Subscribe for more forgotten truths, and ask yourself, who benefits from the fear you were taught to believe?